Certain events in contemporary history leave their mark in the geopolitical complexion of countries and peoples. What happened in Beijing 25 years ago when student protests against the communist leadership of the People's Republic of China were violently dispersed remain etched in the canvas of world history. In the light of the growing power and influence of China today, we pause to remember that one day of ignominy.
Tienanmen Square is located within the heart of Beijing, capital city of the People's Republic of China. It symbolizes the center of a country that has risen to be one of the largest and most pervasive economies in the world, evolving as it has from a cultural revolution that began with the first steps of its great leader, Chairman Mao Zedong. 25 years ago, a student-led massive demonstration of a month and a half of protests converged at the Tienanmen Square in the Beijing capital and encamped there for weeks in a hunger strike mode. They condemned the death of a former Communist Party General Secretary, a liberal reformer. In addition, the university students also rallied for government accountability for grievances against rising inflation, limited career prospects, corruption of the party elite, freedom of the press, freedom of speech, and the restoration of the workers' control over industry. Their numbers thickened, and about 1 million came, and their demonstration was replicated in some 400 cities throughout the mainland. After a month of occupation Square, and when dialogue with the students failed to quell their voices and have them dispersed, the party leadership under Deng Xiaoping decided to advance some 300,000 armed troops to the capital. On the eve of the dispersal, when the students refused to leave, the soldiers surrounded the protesters with the intent of pushing them non-violently out of the square, but the resistance stood their ground. On June 4, 1989, the military opened fire. The suppression marked the end of the protests, and since then no assembly of even a fraction of that crowd has ever surfaced in the aftermath of that day. Arrests were made, foreign and domestic media was curtailed, restrictions were imposed, and punishments meted out. Expectedly, there was international condemnation. Foreign banks suspended assistance, tourism decreased, but the black mark of the Tienanmen Square was incredibly edited out of Chinese history within the 25-year period since. Today we see a China that has closed that episode with the exceptionally spread of its commerce, its trade, the proliferation of its products, and growing influence on the entire global community. Memory needs a language to speak of a past that must be remembered, and we pause today 25 years after that Tienanmen massacre to respect the cause which those students demonstrated and died for, and to pray that power in whatever form and ideology should never come from the barrel of a gun, and the freedom of belief, of speech, and of assembly should never be impaired. For the People's Television Network, this is Freddie Abando reporting.